You have a quorum now.
Let's call this to order.
All right. This is not AM. All right. All right. Let's do some roll call. Dr. Felton.
Here.
Brian Ford.
Present.
Mayor Garrett.
Here.
Mike Green.
Here.
Pam Schermeyer.
Here.
And Tan Sugg.
Here.
All right, excellent. You have a quorum. I did hear from our new board member, Danielle Huey, as well as Charlotte Jones and Fred Prime, that they will not be able to attend. So we just need a...
Make a motion to excuse.
All right.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
We need a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
You are
All in
fast.
favor?
Aye.
We need a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
All right, I have read them and they are accurate. So I make a motion to approve the minutes from the February 16th meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we have to approve the consent agenda?
Yes, you approve the consent agenda. It is one motion and it approves all of it.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Old business, you've got none. All right. New business, March amendments. So we are a little behind in terms of doing amendments. I mean, we typically do them in January, but we're doing it now. So, and we generally only do 2 amendments per year at the top of the year, and then in June to get everything in alignment. And so our amendments are pretty, they're kind of standard this time. The biggest ones are for the salaries and wages and the employee tax and benefits. And those were kind of hit pretty hard for 2 reasons. One, Pam's departure, right? I mean, she had her payouts and whatnot for her time there. And also with the employee taxes and benefits, and looking back through that, there was, it was only ever budgeted for 34, so that should have been an adjustment made in the budget originally, so it's going to be made in the future upcoming budget. But and then we also just have the a minor adjustment for the planning services, and then the printing and publication. We know we're going to have some upcoming stuff before the fiscal year, so relatively few adjustments to be made. Were there, and I highlighted those all in blue for you. Were there any questions?
Just one. Okay, so we're basically decreasing the budget by $29,516?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just peeking ahead to the rest of the agenda for this meeting, will any of those items, if they are approved, affect this budget, which goes through June 30th, right?
Yes, it goes through June 30th. No, none of these amendments should impact the remaining parts of the budget. We still have enough.
Okay,
within
to
the
cover
other
the
lines.
things that are coming up
Yep.
in 5 minutes. Okay.
And one thing to note with budget amendments, when we do these first year budget amendments, we rarely touch revenues. As you guys see from last year's actual, just your TIFA capture alone was almost 400 grand. You only budgeted 360. Realistically, you should get more than that 396, but we won't actually have a better idea what that number is until that June amendment. So there is a good chance you will see a revenue increase come
Okay.
June, but really this one's just really the focus is expenditures for this first one.
Okay.
What is the no-cost partnership for the EV charging station?
That actually is a partnership that Mike had, or a relationship, I should say. Mike had
You wanna talk
previously
about it?
formed So yes,
All right,
please.
so this no-cost partnership, Charge EV partners with GM for GM's incentive program to install EV charging throughout communities. So I know in your guys' budget was that you guys were going to front the cost for EV charging. This agreement with Charge EV that council will consider on Monday,
I saw that.
they will actually come install everything for free, no cost to the city, and the city will actually potentially receive a rev share if they get it. So it's a good deal. I'd say thanks to the government's forcing car companies to install these type of things, but this is one of those little benefits.
Is that just for municipalities, or do they do?
I'm not sure how it works with private entities. I know just from us, when they enter an agreement for us, it has to be our properties that we own. So that, as of right now, the only location we're looking at is City Hall. We know there's that little public parking lot kind of north on Southfield. Unfortunately, that's not actually a platted parcel right now, which we're working on. So we might amend that in the future. But based on our conversations going around town with them, City Hall seems to be the most viable location.
Great,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
But isn't there a piece of property that's over near the water tank also?
Over by Michigan First.
Mhm.
I mean,
We-
it's very little.
Yeah. The big, we can look at it. The biggest thing is naturally we need to make sure there's parking there and everything like that.
Okay.
So if it's just a grass parcel that we own, then we would have to front the costs and install the parking.
Right.
They just install the EV charging infrastructure for that.
And maintenance too, or we're?
Yep, they handle all that.
And I asked Mike yesterday, I asked the city manager yesterday, about putting one at one of the parks, like Golden Gate Park, and
Yeah,
that's-
and that's something I talked to them about. For them, naturally, this is a business move, and since there's not enough traffic at those
Sure.
type of parks, it just doesn't make sense for them.
I was just
So-
thinking of the cut through,
Yeah,
all that traffic.
have them sit there for a little while.
Yeah, and that's the toughest thing. These are level 2 chargers, so they're not the fast chargers
Yeah.
where you're plug and play after 10 minutes. These are, we know people are going to come here and either they're from City Hall for a meeting or something like that, community
Top
events or the parks. That we know there's potential for people to be here a while using them, so that's why it makes sense here.
Great. It's awesome.
All right, one other thing. Has the DDA always paid for a portion of the city administrator's salary?
Yes, that's
Okay.
part of the cost share.
Okay, I remember
DDA
that.
pays
10%.
10% of city administrator and treasurer, and then 90% for
Okay.
DDA staff.
And some code enforcement.
And some,
like
yeah,
half of
40%
code enforcement, yeah.
code enforcement.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, I take you'd like a motion to adopt the proposed March amendments to the fiscal year 23-24 budget.
Yes, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so moving on is our, the cost share agreement with the Road Commission for Oakland County. This is something that we were expecting, right? We knew, going into the installation, this is for the pedestrian signal down at near Margate. We are moving full steam ahead with the design engineering and all the planning documents for that. Met with them last week, as a matter of fact, about it. So one of the road commission's conditions was, okay, we'll say yes, but you are responsible for the installation and ongoing maintenance costs. They'll do the work, they'll facilitate it, but we're on the hook for that. So they need the resolution to enter into this agreement with them before we can keep moving forward. So this just stipulates that, and we've got the resolution in there, and then the agreement itself just stipulates that, again, they'll be doing the work, they will bill us, and we are responsible for paying those costs 100%.
Okay, yeah, one question about that.
Uh-huh.
So if I understand it correctly, DTE Energy bills the road commission for whatever electricity is necessary to run that. I don't know if it's a separate thing or if it's a certain percentage of their whole electrical bill for Southfield Road or something like that.
No, it's not the whole electrical bill for Southfield.
No,
Road,
no, but I
right?
meant-
They have
How do they calculate that was one question. And then,
it's a relatively complicated formula, but they were going to have they're gonna be putting in a new box, right? A new service box for that's not, I can't remember what the exact word is, but they're gonna
Yeah.
be putting in a service box and they will be able to kind of meter it from there.
Okay,
And it's for the light only.
gotcha. All right, so DTE bills them, and they turn around and bill us,
Yes.
and then then they deposit our check or whatever.
Yes.
I presume they're going to charge some kind of fee for doing that, or not?
DTE?
I mean,
or-
they're going to say, well, we have some costs for the whole accounting procedure of receiving DTE's bills, passing it on to you, getting your check back. And then they're going to add it to the maintenance costs that they deliver to us. I'm just a little worried about that kind of an open-ended
hidden fees.
maintenance cost. It's just something to keep an eye on, I think, in case, if the fee turns out to be larger than the cost of the electricity.
And I can
That's something
certainly
to
look
challenge
into
them on.
that. I mean, the city overall gets an invoice from the road commission. I think I don't know if it's monthly or if it's quarterly. I know I just filed one not that long ago that we pay
Okay,
a certain amount for our other signal work, right?
okay.
So we can certainly keep an eye on that. I can go back through and look at past bills and follow up with everyone.
Okay, so chances are maybe it's been looked at some point in the past. Okay,
I mean, we're not
Unless-
expecting like usurious maintenance fees from.
No.
You-
This
for a
is-
new, for a new signal, one would hope not.
Naturally, if the light goes out or anything like that and they have to go service it, we get a bill. But as long as it's working, it should be fine.
So we need a motion to.
Yeah, we need a resolution to establish a motion to
Move-
adopt the resolution.
Move to adopt the resolution to establish a cost share maintenance agreement with the Road Commission for Oakland County.
Second.
All in favor?
He can make a motion. I want a second.
All right, and I'll still.
We're already married to that, so.
I'll follow up. I'll look through the old invoices. All right. Carrying on, the landscape and maintenance contract bid recommendations. So, we know that we, with all of our landscaping in the last few years, we bit off more than we can chew, and I think we are all well aware of that. And so we went out to bid for landscape and maintenance services in the middle of February. We did receive 4 bids. These were due on this past Tuesday at 2 p.m. So we had 4 bids that were submitted. They ranged from reasonable of $135,692 to very high of $276, $499.90. We actually had the 4th bid was even higher than that and disqualified because it was incomplete. We have checked the references and both the low bidders, Paradise Gardens and KNC Landscaping, both had really good reviews. But it's our recommendation that we go with the low bid of Paradise Garden Landscaping and accept their bid of $135,692 and award them the contract for 2024 to 2026.
And just note that 135 is over 3 years.
Mhm.
Yes.
That was the
Yeah.
shocker at first when I read this.
And there is
I was
And
about to buy a lawnmower.
right. I know. I'm wrong business, right? I do want to point out, you can see it a little bit better on the bid tab when it's blown up on your computer screen. But some of these costs are items that will be for the city, right? Like nuisance cuts are generally residential properties.
Landscape restoration.
The landscape restoration, that's to supplement and offset some of the things that DPW may need to do for water mains outside in the neighborhoods. Same with some of the applications of fertilizer and weed control in the city parks, right? So some of these things are going to be, some of these expenses are going to be borne by the city. We're estimating that the DDA's cost, at least for year one, will probably be close to like $36,000.
I think the high bids were basically their kind way of saying they're not interested in doing,
Likely.
doing the
Hoping
service.
no one else applies. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, I don't think this looks unreasonable for what we're getting here. My question is, and I'm sure that baked in the contract, is we can terminate this with cause, correct? If we're not satisfied with these people, I don't want to be married to them for 3 years if they're not doing the job.
Correct. There's a mechanism for us to get out of this contract. I mean, obviously, we will, work with them. We'll want to work with them to address any issues that may come up. But there is an option for us to get out of it if we need to.
I don't see the contract in here. These are two of the same things.
I only gave the bid tabulation.
Oh, I have
And then-
two.
Huh.
I thought one was a contract.
Oh, no, just the memo and the bid tab. I can certainly send the winning bid over if you would all like to see that.
No, I was just wondering what, I'm just going to what the vice chair said. To have that actually in the contract, just to see what it says in the contract about terminating the contract or cause if we needed to.
This is primarily a service agreement, maintenance agreement, but there is a design element to it. They're going to design the bed out front where the monument is and the areas around the foundation areas along the building. The beautification committee would just like to have a stipulation, whether it's formal or informal, that they consult with us before they do the design and before it's approved. Because one member of our committee is very interested in making sure that native plants are well represented for environmental reasons in our choosings, and we've done some work on that and just want to have some recommendations considered.
Definitely. And that design, I mean, we know that there's quite a bit of work that still needs to happen. We just wanted to make sure that that was included, but definitely we'll have, once we get the contract in place, that'll be one of our first points of order is to get them to come to a beautification committee, and we can kind of go from there.
Yeah. The actual cost of the plants, how is that going to be reflected in our budget? Would that be in next year's budget?
I guess it'll depend on how quickly, how quickly they can pull together a design, right?
Okay.
If I'm optimistic they'll pull it together in time for the spring planting season, right? That's, but again, that's going to have to be something that we specifically talk to them about, in terms of like, what's the design, what are the plant materials,
Well, I would think for $100 design fee, they're gonna do it with a can of spray paint out there. And it's not like they're going to a big design firm to have that done,
Right.
so.
right.
Most people probably already have a design, so
Yeah,
that's also probably
yeah,
why.
so I would say for your beautification committee, to get on board early and maybe even meet them out here and just walk through what you wanna do.
Yes.
And that's-
There's our field trip.
yeah. So Susie,
Outside,
are any of these already contracted previously? I mean, somebody was doing this before, killing weeds in parking lots and stuff, or no?
You're beside her.
Yeah, you're right next to
Is
her.
You saw me on that gator, man.
Right, rolling around. So we've been doing. I mean, yes. I mean, it's been Brittany. It's been me.
So,
it's been
so no
Ed.
professional
And Boys to
contractor.
Men, Boys to Men has been
Yeah,
maintained.
so
yeah.
volunteer.
so-
All right, so
volunteers.
We got a orderless do
Cordless
small.
really helped us out a lot
Yeah.
last
Yeah,
year,
it really helped out.
helping us do more of the heavy lifting in terms of making sure that those flower beds were.
So my point being is that this should be a value add. Like we
I
should
believe it
see,
will be.
with all due respect to our volunteer labor, this is now a professional stance at beautification of the DDA district and
Absolutely.
these buildings. So
That is
yeah,
my
so
that's my
I would
intent.
view that as an investment then for sure. Like we're taking it up a notch.
Yes, I think we are.
That should be the expectation too.
Yep.
To Brian's point, if after the year we're like, wait, we were doing the same with our volunteers, then
Yeah.
Right. No, I fully anticipate that this is going to be. We're going to end up with a better
yeah.
end result,
Product,
and they
right,
are going to
sure.
be taking on. They are going to be taking on additional work, right? Like for example, the alleys. Like that's not something that we
Yeah.
really have the capability to kind of tackle
Mhm.
and maintain, and they're really going to be. That is one of their bid items. So
Yeah, and there's a lot of overgrowth
right.
in those alleys.
There's two memos in the package. Is that a mistake, or is there two
Yes, that's
different
a,
things?
that's a
Okay.
mistake. Sorry about that.
Okay. I thought they looked the same. Is there more discussion?
I'm good.
Does anybody care to make the suggested motion?
I'll make the motion to accept the bid amount of $135,692 and award Paradise Garden Landscape, Inc. the contract for 2024-2026 landscape and maintenance in the DDA district and authorize the DDA director to sign any necessary documents.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I was just
I
wondering
see,
whether
were you done?
Yeah, I wasn't, but that's okay. I guess it's accepted now. But I was gonna say
Sorry.
that it needed to be. I'm wondering if it needed to be adjusted about if it wasn't to our satisfaction or something that we wouldn't be committed to the 2-year contract,
Or at least have a
3-year.
3-year, 2-year.
a
4
documented
to 5 to 6.
a documented discussion a year from now, like, hey, let's relook at this and see if it's really good, something to that effect.
Yeah. Does it need to be
So
adjusted?
you could amend your motion to say, authorize DDA director to sign any necessary documents pending termination clause in the contract.
So I like to amend it to say pending the termination, all that, pending the termination clause.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Exciting. That's cool.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Next up, sign grant. We are really doing
Bang it
awesome
out.
with these sign
Finally.
grants. You got a facade grant. Like we're making some people happy, and we're getting some nice signage. So this is for Jaybird's Bar and Grill, which is going right across the street. He did get his approvals from City Council, and he is really just swapping out those face panels on both the blade sign, which is that projecting sign, that's the fancy name for the projecting sign, and then the existing monument sign out there. So, no, the monument sign is not actually. It's a legal nonconformity, right? It's been there. He is allowed to use it. He's not allowed to expand it, but he is allowed to maintain and update the signage. So that's precisely what he is doing. He has received 2 bids, one from Fast Signs and the other from Signorama. It is Mr. Brown's preference to go with the Signorama quote, which is for $4,051.50. And it would be my recommendation that the DDA board consider awarding him the maximum amount of $2,000 to go towards that signage. And the sign, although it didn't print out very nicely on my in my packet, it is going to be a very nice looking sign. So, and the one addition that he will have to make to this sign is to make sure his address is on it. And I have already communicated that to him.
Motion to approve Jaybird's
I'm sorry, I had
Oh,
a
sorry.
discussion. One is, I don't know if I need to recuse myself, because I do know who Jay is.
No.
And
Do you have
I've gone-
financial? Do you have financial interest in the business?
I just, hey,
Um,
you know so,
That's fine. Yeah.
it's up to the board if they want me to recuse myself. I've eaten there at his other restaurant. I know we're friends.
I could have eaten there too. I don't even know what it is.
You patronize the business, there's nothing
Yes, I
wrong.
have.
There's nothing wrong with that, Kelly.
Where was his other location?
10 Mile South, 10 Mile Telegraph.
Oh, I've never been.
Well, now you'll have an opportunity in a couple of months to go to his very new
But I'm
location.
really looking forward to it. I think it's exactly what the location needs. So, so we have the variance that is existing that allows for the
Legal
sign.
non-conforming.
Not a variance. It's not a variance.
Okay.
I just want to make sure it's just a legal nonconformity.
But there's nothing else that we are doing here that is outside of the scope of the sign grant, right?
Nope.
Okay. I don't know why you would have to recuse yourselves, Kelly. Personally, my opinion.
Valid concern.
I'm not concerned.
Nope.
So,
Motion to approve sign grant for Jaybird's Bar and Grill.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, awesome. Jay's gonna be thrilled. Thank you. All right, next up, motoring on through our flower order. So the beautification committee has been super duper busy over the last handful of months, discussing and looking at every type of flower I feel imaginable. And so Pam has put together, they're beautiful, right? So she's put together some great recommendations. And, you know, as we've purchased from English Gardens in the past, for the last couple of years, we have reached out to them. We reached out to a couple of other vendors to see about, let's get some pricing. Our grand total for everything that we're wanting, and we are mixing it up this year, right? We've got a different plant makeup for each of the hanging baskets, or for the hanging baskets. Sorry, the plant makeup is different for the hanging baskets. We've got different plant selections for each of the front flower pots, as well as the entrance pots, and then we've got different ones for the gazebo. And really, the goal is to kind of step up our flower game, if you will, and see what works, right? That's, I think, kind of where we're at in terms of like, they've done well, but we could do better. You think did I capture that well, Pam?
Right. I would say particularly with the front area, the 5 pots out front between the pillars, it's kind of hard to, for me anyway, to know, is it how much sun, how much shade? It's going to be a mix of both. What kind of plants are going to do best? So that's why we're going to have sort of 5 different pots with five different variations of annuals in there, and that'll give us a good idea of, you know, what our best course might be for years going forward.
Going forward.
The gazebo pots, some are in sunlight, some are in part shade. So again, that'll be an experiment to see what we like best.
So this, the estimated cost from English Gardens is about $4,500. This is more than what we've spent the last couple of years just doing the hanging baskets, but I think it's worth the investment, knowing that the intent of this is to try and learn what's going to work best in each of these planting areas. So, and it is budgeted in our current fiscal year. We have $5,000 budgeted towards plants and whatnot. So
This was the same, English Gardens is the company that did the hanging baskets last year?
yes, that's where we've purchased our flowers from in the past. Like I said, we've reached out to a couple different suppliers, and unfortunately, they don't carry all of the same plants that English Gardens does. I mean, we could certainly go back to the drawing board and ask the beautification committee to go back to the drawing board on some of these. When I was kind of doing my analysis, I took out, the plants from that the other suppliers didn't have from the English Gardens orders, just to see like where we were. English Gardens was still actually cheaper than the other suppliers that we looked at. So my recommendation is that the board authorizes staff to spend no more than $5,000. That'll give us a little wiggle room if we need extra soil or whatnot. And this would be for the plants for the hanging baskets, front flower, and all the flower pots around City Hall.
Just one other comment. I mean, the $4,500, when you think about it, we get a whole lot more bang for the buck than, say, with the holiday decorations, we spend more on the holiday decorations, and they're up for maybe 6 weeks, whereas this will last all summer long.
That's a good point.
So to me, it's well worth the investment.
It's a discounted rate as well. It's a nice price.
Yeah. So toward that end, I move that we budget up to $5,000 for the annual plants for
You
this.
authorize the DDA director.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for 2023,
24.
2024.
I know.
Oh, is it that late already? Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No. Sorry. You didn't ask what I said.
What's that?
You got the yeas and I got the no.
Okay.
All right. Next up, trees. So I had to do a little math for us today, which is why these were in your packet. But so beautification committee has also been working on identifying trees for the DTE tree planting grant. Right, these are trees that are being planted in the DDA district.
That's not in the package, you're saying?
That yes, the estimates were not in the package. I can certainly send these out and include them afterwards. Like I said, I had to do a little extra math on here. We did so we've identified about 5 types of trees that we're interested in planting. Again, looking at planting conditions, where are they at, sun, part shade, all that fun planting stuff. We have received bids from Wild Type, English Gardens, Marine City Nursery, and Green Acres Tree. The only company that has all types of the trees that we are looking or that we're interested in purchasing is Wild Type. They are by far the most affordable. We actually, and unfortunately, and I can get new quotes too if we'd prefer to pass on table this until next time, but the original quotes that we have are for 5 trees, and really we need 12, right? Per our grant is what we said we were going to do. So that was just a mistake in quantity, but for what we got, Wild Type is their estimate is just under $1,500. Marine Cities is about $2,100, and then English Gardens is about $5,000, and Green Acres is $6,100. So my recommendation would be that we go with Wild Type. Again, these estimates only reflect 5 trees instead of the 12 that we need, but Wild Type, and these do not include installation because we have been talking about having volunteers assist with the planting since there's only 12. So I need a little direction from you all in terms of whether or not you want me to get updated quotes for that reflect the 12 trees instead of the 5. I mean, they are per tree pricing in here, right? And whether or not we want to have volunteers manage this or plant these, or if we want to have them
Did they
installation.
include that installation cost in the?
Installation cost is not in any of these. This
Okay.
is just the raw cost of the trees.
Mhm.
No warranty, nothing like
But
that.
don't, isn't the installation important how you plant them so they can live?
It is, and we have but we also have those standards. Those standards, installation processes and requirements are provided.
But can the tree committee, once that's up and running, they can assist with the planting of the trees?
That would be pretty awesome.
I mean, I think that
Sure.
that should be an option.
So if we go back and ask for the rate for 12, do we expect that we get a better deal per tree if we ask for 12? Or is 12 still small potatoes in their eyes?
I think 12 is probably still relatively small potatoes. One of them did say that, based on, like, we've got gallon size trees, gallon size. And they said that they would require a minimum of 5 per variety, the 7-gallon trees. So, like, if we have 4 tree species, and we only want to get one in the 7-gallon bucket, we would have to buy multiples of 5, right? So I think most of these places are looking for larger orders.
I think since it's unit pricing, I think no matter what, wild type's going to be the cheapest. If anything, maybe a little discount because of 12. But since it is unit pricing, they should. At the end of the day, it's going to be what, $3,500 since we need 12, not 5,
Right.
something around there. So
And their trees are, most of these, were minimum $200 per tree. Wild type has, their cheapest tree is $72.
Can you remind me what the DT grant has to do with any of this?
Well, we got the grant to, it's a $5,000 grant to plant trees within the district as part of, and so this is a reimbursement grant, right? So they set parameters for size.
So we're not really proving the expense.
Well,
yeah.
I need authorization from the board to spend more than $1,000, and
No, I understand, but we're going to be reimbursed on this grant.
yes,
Yeah.
yep. So
So can we just go say we're going to authorize that 12 today?
Yeah.
Okay.
And set a dollar amount max or something.
Yeah.
okay.
Up to 5,000 max? Is that what we're thinking?
That's the DT grant, right? $5,000.
Yeah.
Okay, then I move that we authorize up to $5,000 for the purchase of trees that volunteers will plant
From wild type nursery.
for wild
From
wild type nursery.
Yeah. What a unique name. Yeah.
Is there a second?
I'll say it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Who's going to pick up the leaves?
Pick up the leaves.
Yeah.
That's part of the fall cleanup that Paradise Garden
Yeah, sorry.
Landscaping will be doing.
Leaves mow.
And it'll be 20 years before the acorns start coming down from the oak trees.
Yeah, I bought one of those trees. It was like 2 years later I had insurance.
All right.
Walnuts.
All right. Next up is our
Promotional
right, promotional items. There we go. So we bought items right after we rebranded. We bought all of our promotional items, and I'm happy to say we've blown right through all of it, which is exactly what we wanted to do, right? So the promotions committee has met. They've talked about what do we want to get. We definitely want to get things that are going to be used by people and easily snatched up. So pulled out just a few of these things to purchase. Another round of the tote bags, even better price. I just want to say, this would be from the same individual that we purchased from a couple years ago. It's about $200 cheaper, so that's exciting. And then suggesting some pens and some chip clips, since those seem to be the things that people take the most. There may be we've got some other choices and ideas in there. Right now, we're at a grand total of about just over $2,300. But I am asking for authorization to purchase promotional items with an amount not to exceed $3,000. And our goal will be to try and get all of these items purchased in advance of the State of the City being held by the Chamber.
Are the tote bags the same size as the previous ones?
Yes.
Pretty dinky.
I mean, we can go bigger. We can go bigger.
But this is gonna be authorizing you just to spend the $3,000, so it can be, the totes can be adjusted and, adjust away
You want
from.
bigger totes, Pam?
They,
She's got
What
stuff.
are you shopping for?
well, I mean, it was just this big, and it didn't have a flat bottom or anything. So you could get a book or two in there.
Alright.
Yeah, it's like a book bag more than
Well,
a tote.
All right.
I mean, a tote.
It's not for shopping,
It's not for toting.
No, it's definitely
Put your
not
towel
for
in there.
grocery shopping.
but you can maybe take away
Okay.
the,
Gotcha.
chip clips or whatever to get a bigger one.
Okay.
Size.
Because they're
what-
not, I agree, they're not,
Get more than one size as well.
so well utilized.
Just a
Alright.
thought.
To Kelly's point, the authorization is to spend the money. What you spend it on should really be up to promotional committee, I would imagine, so.
Not beautification. I'm sorry, Pam. It's-
We can take input from
It's all right.
beautification.
I'll try not to defend it.
Motion to approve the DDA staff to procure promotional items for all of our different events that we sponsor, not to exceed $3,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. Thank you. And moving on, director's report. Really, I tried to throw all of our upcoming events in here. You guys know that we've been hosting our Tri-City workshops. So those are all in here. We're round robin on those, right? So the next one's coming up April 9th. They had a different location, and so now they're kind of floating around, but we'll send that out. And then we've just got a couple mixers, our cleanups, our plant swap. We've got the music festival scheduled for August 10th, Saturday, August 10th. The list of commercial businesses and property updates is starting to grow a little bit. Still working with Papa's. They're supposed to be submitting some information today to follow up on their ZBA application, for which they were denied at the last council meeting. Guys Next Door will be starting construction soon. I got an email earlier this week with their construction drawings, so we can move forward with that. We know about Next Across the Way. I have it on good authority that we're going to get some yummy eats over there in the former Rapid Refill location. And they're continuing to market the old Panera location as well, so I think we're going to start seeing some movement on those things. Also, just to note, the resurfacing for Southfield Road is going to start probably mid-April, early May. They will be starting with the intersection at 696 and Southfield Road. They're going to be closing the eastbound lanes first, both the exit and the entrance onto 696. They're going to do that. That'll probably take about 4 weeks. Then they'll open, flip it, and do the westbound lanes, and then those will be open, and then they'll start in on the north-south. There will be no lane closures on Southfield Road going north-south. There will be traffic lane shifts. Okay, so I've asked the road commission to consider having another meeting. I would really like for them to focus on those few businesses that are right there at the corner, since they are going to be the most impacted. Just kind of waiting to hear back from them on that. Their goal is to be finished with construction by July 1st. I think what they really mean to say is August 1st, but we're going to go with their schedule for now. And then we are planning to begin our alley and approach work early April and be done and out of the road commissions. Be done, so we're not even competing with the road commission. Beyond that, our website is nearly done. We just need to refine some of the words and language and just make sure we have all the information on there. And so we're hoping to launch that end of the month, early April as well. And then Mike has been wonderful and submitted a request to Gary Peters' office for funding for municipal park. So keep your fingers crossed that they say yes.
So I talked to city administrator yesterday, or day before yesterday, about the gas station requesting a liquor
Yes.
license. Did they?
They've not officially submitted anything. I've only had conversations with them. Like, is it possible? I mean, it's a possibility. There's licenses available, but they've not submitted anything formal.
So they were saying that they got the approval from the state.
I'm not aware of any approvals that they have gotten from the state. My understanding on how that works with the state is that they need to get approval. They can apply with the
Right.
state, and the state can say yeah,
Other stuff
but you
was-
still need to get approval from
Right.
the city. So they've got nothing so far as I'm concerned.
Is this the new gas station to the south?
Yes.
Yeah.
Didn't we have the same debate?
Yeah, the
with
same exact. That's what
Yeah.
brought me,
Yeah.
gave me
Yeah.
pause, because they just went ahead and they updated it. I mean, they put beer and wine in the gas station without coming to the council.
Those guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a while back, but yeah.
Well, that sounds like a problem for them.
Oh, it was. I had to remove it.
Right. So, I mean, I've talked to them. Somebody has asked me about liquor licenses at that gas station. Obviously, the new gas station they've asked, but we've not received anything. So,
Okay.
I think
I'll
there's
hope so.
only one set of licenses left in terms of like availability
Okay.
for what they would want to do. And I haven't received anything from the Liquor Control Commission about it either.
Okay.
So. Any other questions?
No?
Well, that's all I've got.
We don't need a motion to approve that, right? We just need a motion to adjourn?
Nope.
No, you
Oh,
can
ready
make
to go
comment.
public
I'm sorry. Is there public comment?
Please come up to the microphone.
Rick Wiz, resident on Lathrup Boulevard. Just a couple comments about things that were on the consent agenda that I saw earlier. One was about the Lathrup Village Music Festival. Looking at the committee, there are, I think 6 people on it, basically 2 families represented. I think one of the things that was brought up when Mike talked to all the residents was residents want more input on city activities. And something like this, that's a huge city activity. I think the more people involved, the better. More ideas, more resources, whatever. So that's one comment. Also noticed that there was a report on the code enforcement and the tickets written or violations written. There were, I think, 13 written in the last month. And a lot of these businesses, these are violations that have existed for a while. Like Vintage, the beer store down at the end of Southfield and 12 Mile, they've had their windows covered for as long as I can remember, and just wondered why all of a sudden this flurry of activity. Why wasn't anything done before this? And how much money has the city been missing because of not enforcing that. I'd encourage everybody, well, this committee and anybody else, about Southfield Road, publicize it, let people know, remind people that this work is gonna be starting in April. All you've gotta do is walk along Southfield at any time of day, and the place is crowded as all get out. Those people are gonna be surprised when all of a sudden they're missing lanes. And especially, I've already talked to Oakland County about putting signs up on 696 for people to start thinking about where they're gonna exit, because they can't exit at Southfield. The last thing is, I would suggest moving the public comments earlier in the meeting so that you could consider anything that any of the public says, instead of, anything I say is a moot point because things have already been voted on and nothing taken into consideration. So just a possibility. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Karen Miller, 18755 Glenwood Boulevard. I ditto what Rick said about public comment. It really has no impact if you can't say it before you vote. I'm wondering on your spending on the budget, you are going to be spending $495,427 more than you're bringing in. And I'm wondering if that includes any of the Southfield Road work. There's also $250,000 owed to the general fund. When will that be transferred? The hawk signals, approving that agreement without knowing what those costs are going to be, that's questionable. On the flowers and landscaping, they're spending $8,500 to water the baskets. I'm wondering if it would make sense to consolidate the baskets in the city center, and then they could be really something outstanding. Also, are there any perennials that are being planted? And also, is there a warranty on the trees if they're self-installed? The sign grants. It seems like these are going to new businesses. New businesses, sign is a part of their startup cost. I think it would be better spent to beautify other businesses. If I know they're supposed to give the money back if they don't stay here, but if a business closes, they normally don't have money, and there will be a list of creditors, and you probably won't get the money back. And I was wondering about the chicken place that was here less than a year, if they got a sign grant. There's a plant swap. I'm wondering if you're working with the garden group, because they're also planning one. Infrastructure, have you communicated with Lathrup Boulevard residents, because that's going to be a cut-through street when this all happens. Really glad to see all the activity and development on Southfield Road. I'm just wondering how much business was lost while those properties were tied up for 2 years waiting for dispensaries. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.